I didn't need an advisor, but I desperately wanted one. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 9-to-9 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com. I didn't need an advisor, but I desperately wanted one is for each one of you very high achievers who have been used to getting things and achieving and doing it all by yourself. I want you to think about, and by the end of this very brief episode, you're going to understand the thought process that I went through to actually realize that, yes, I'm a high achiever, but getting and working with somebody else was going to help me get there faster. The one asset that I start to realize is the most important of them all after your health is being able to understand time. Because this is at a point in my corporate career. So I'm going back a little bit. This is around 2015. I had a real estate portfolio. Like in my corporate job, I was on my path. I was achieving. I'd just come off of the worst professional sales quota year, but I was moving into an area where I had just done 48% the previous year. But this year I was setting up to do like 115%, only to do 300% a little bit later. But more importantly, outside of the 9-to-9, I had my real estate portfolio that was really taking off. It was doing very well. It was producing multiple 5 figures at this point in time. I had lots of cash flow that was kicking off of the doors or the properties, the rental properties that I had. At this point in time, the cash flow was going well. I was starting to begin what was going to be the very large 25 million plus sales opportunity that I had in my corporate job, $25 million USD in my corporate career, and also had young family at home, very present father. Although I was traveling during the day, I was home at night. Every weekend it seemed like we were doing something, going traveling. So there was a lot, and I paint that picture because there was a lot of different things that were happening. And I was constantly moving, having success at home, having success at the office, having success outside of the office in my 9-to-9. And the thing is, I wanted to keep making more money because I thought that was the way that I could provide for my family. That was the thing that, like, if you ask me, like, why are you doing all this stuff, Billy? Well, because I want to keep making more money, because the more money that I make, the more things we can do together, experiences we can create together. And at the same time, like, if somebody would have really just pulled me to the side, I was like, I just want to stop being stressed or feeling stressed because of all of the success that I'm having. Young family growing up. That was one of the things I really wanted. Also, too, being able to excel in my day job. Like, I just come off the bad year and I saw I could see what was happening. And also, too, like all this money coming in off of these rental properties I was doing long distance. I just wanted the stress from the success, believe it or not, to stop. Like, that was the thing. And so as I was going through all of this stuff, there's constantly working, like they're progressing on this really big $25 million equivalent. So, because everything's in euros, but I like to say dollars, right? Because it just makes easier for most of you. I had a team that was expanding on my rental real estate properties. And I was even having more opportunities that were coming to me. And the reality was, with the family, with the day job, with the night job, I was just getting pulled in all of these different directions. And so I knew down deep inside, I didn't need any help because I was a high achiever during corporate. I continue to be a high achiever. And so it's just a matter of, like, I didn't need it. Like, I like to put needs in the category of, like, you need to eat, you need to sleep to keep your body energetic, you need to drink water or some type of fluids to keep hydrated. Like, those are needs. Those are basic needs. The reality is, I was beyond my basic needs. I was looking for higher level assistance because I believe fundamentally that high achievers, we don't need anyone to advise us. We can do it on our own. But the thing is that what I started to realize is that I wanted help because I wanted to stop using all of this extra time and energy, because I was giving so much to family. I was giving so much to my corporate role, and the little bit that I had left, I was giving to my business, and it was booming, like it was taking off. But I wanted shortcuts. I wanted shortcuts in the way that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel every single time, because if someone else had already done it and been there before me, and they could see from the outside in, because that's what they were focusing on, That's what I wanted. I wanted access to that. I wanted somebody to be there to help to guide me along the way. Um, because I knew that once that happened, that I could get to a point where I could start to get my questions answered. And the reason that I say my questions specifically, why I wanted to go down this specific track, is because as I was learning more and more, I was doing the online courses. I was in the online groups, and I would join these small group sessions, and I would have to wait until everybody else asked their question to get my specific question answered. And by the time it got there, it was like a rushed answer. And I didn't want to, in these small group sessions, it was like, okay, well, yeah, but it just didn't. I could never get the totality of my entire context, my life situation, what was happening at home, what was happening at the office. And I really needed somebody to understand me and my mindset to realize like that was important. Like I needed that part. I needed somebody to understand me because I wanted to be able to get to my goals much, much faster. And the online trainings weren't working for me anymore. Waiting at the end of the group trainings weren't working anymore. I didn't want to just keep having this one directional by reading stuff and trying to apply it. I wanted somebody that could be there to answer my specific question, that understood my context. And so once it happened, it was a matter of saying, I needed to find someone for myself. And that got to be a little bit scary. And for anyone who is a high achiever, you're going to understand this, because as soon as I said, hey, listen, I want to go invest almost 6 figures in myself so that I could get somebody to help me understand a specific skill, and this was around real estate at the time, I started to get the feedback from family members. Like, why would you ever do that? Like, that's way too much money. Why would you can figure out everything yourself. You're the smart one. You continuously overachieve. You're the one who is able to, you help me with my problems, with my issues, with my challenges. Oh my gosh, that's way too much money. You should never be able to do that. Why don't you just use that to put it somewhere else? And I started to think, I started doubting myself. I started asking myself the same questions. It was like, well, is this one-on-one thing? Would it work for me? Like, would having an advisor help me? Would I actually have the time? Because I knew I was going to be investing more time during my day job. My kids were growing up. I wanted to be able to invest more time with them. And really, could I afford it? Like, was the money going to work? Was I going to do the work? And all of this stuff that I had, especially when it came from like family, and I started realizing like, wow, like my closest family, like confidant, like, well, hang on a second. If you don't think I can do it, then why would I ever do this? And so all of those self-doubting kind of thoughts came into my mind. And I also started realizing to myself, well, how in the world am I going to make this happen? Things are going well enough, but I just couldn't get over that fact that like the success was really crushing me, which sounds crazy to even think about it, but it was the success. That's why I wanted to have somebody that could help me, to be there for me, to understand my context. And so that is why I finally made the decision. And it scared me. It scared me because at the time it was almost 6 figures, right? Investing that in myself, I'd never made an investment that big ever. And to do it on myself. But then I started realizing, like, if I was going to make any type of investment, there is no better bet than me. Because being a high achiever, knowing that I could have my very specific context funneled and talked to about someone who had the experience that I was looking for, I showed up to every session prepared. I asked the right questions. In the beginning, the questions actually weren't even really that good. But then over time, working together over a year, multiple years actually, my questions got better. They got more pointed. They were more specific. And guess what happened to the results? The results got better. They were more specific. They continued to increase exponentially, to the fact it got to a point where, starting in one particular place, had over 400 different streams of income that I was able to have to complement what I was doing in my corporate role. And thanks largely in part to wanting to have somebody there with me along for the ride that could help me focus, that could make me feel more accountable and help me to also get the return on my investment. Right? So ultimately, that's what it was about. And so it's fundamentally, I do not believe that anyone who is a high achiever, we do not need advisors. We want them. Why? Because we want to mitigate risk and we want to be able to mitigate the amount or reduce the amount of time that it takes us to get to the goal. Because fundamentally, we're wired to get there. And I don't know if I talk about this enough, but and I think for anyone else who is, I know anyone else who is a high achiever, you do not ever need an advisor. I commend you for wanting an advisor and for finding the right person that can help you, to guide you, to give you that guided assistance that you need. Because wanting that is the first step. And then it's actually a matter of going out and finding and making sure that the person is the right fit for you. So with that stated, I just wanted to share that because I hear it and I talk about it and I speak to people all the time on LinkedIn. And I just want you to know, you don't ever need high achievers only, eh? I'm not talking to you if you're not a high achiever, only if you're a high achiever, because we don't need anybody else. We don't need advisors because eventually we're going to figure it out. But that asset, that time asset, how long is it going to take us? And if there are risks that we can mitigate, why would we not take someone else's experienced advice on board, right? Exchanging our capital for that access to that direct access, that one-on-one access. That's what it's about. So if you know somebody who's struggling with this, like I struggled with it for a long time, and sometimes you want to talk to somebody who's not a part of the circle you grew up with, or your spouse, or your close friends. You want to talk to somebody who's going to give you more of an objective, quote unquote, point of view. If that's you, hey, I'm just here, just sharing, because I've been there, done that. You know how to get in touch with me. But also, if you know somebody who's going through this, share today's episode, help them understand they're not by themselves. They are not alone. I've been there. I've done that. And while you're doing that, make sure you give them a call. Follow up. Go from theory to practice. Because while you're doing that, I'll be here. I just gave it away. I'll be right here preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very, very much. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.